Light from the Darkness. Chapter 1: The Depths of Despair. Thursday Rain lived in a small, sleepy town surrounded by rolling hills and winding streets. On the surface, life appeared simple. Shops lined the streets with colorful fabrics fluttering in the breeze, and children's laughter echoed from narrow alleys. Yet beneath this quiet exterior, Thursday Rain's life teetered on uncertainty. He had a small family, a devoted wife, a young child, and a modest home that struggled to contain their dreams. Every morning, he rose before dawn. His hands were calloused from years of labor, yet his mind was sharp, always calculating, planning, and worrying. He worked at a medium-sized furniture company, producing handcrafted items. The work was honest but modestly paid. Thursday Rain believed that diligence and integrity could shield his family from life's harshness. Still, the stress of providing weighed on him like a stone in his chest. Then, one day, the unexpected happened. The company was forced to lay off a number of employees due to financial strain. Orders had dropped, debts had accumulated, and the decision was merciless. Thursday Rain's name appeared on the list. In that moment, he felt as though the ground beneath him had disappeared. The shock was immediate. He left the office in silence, walking through streets he had known all his life, but everything seemed unfamiliar, almost hostile. The same shops, the same neighbors, the same walls, now felt like distant, indifferent observers to his misfortune. He returned home, carrying the heavy weight of uncertainty on his shoulders. That night, Thursday Rain sat alone in the dim glow of a single lamp. His wife and child slept unaware, innocent to the storm raging within him. The shadows on the walls stretched unnaturally, seeming to press against him. He could hear the wind tapping on the tin roof, each tap echoing his anxious heartbeat. How would he pay rent? How could he feed his family? How could he explain that life had suddenly become cruel? Tears came unbidden. The despair was suffocating, filling the room as though it had a presence of its own. He whispered softly to himself, words almost swallowed by the darkness. Is this the end? Is there no hope left for me? For days, Thursday Rain drifted through his home like a ghost. Meals were tasteless. Sleep was fleeting. He went through motions mechanically, but his mind remained trapped in the shadows of fear. Even the laughter of his child, once a source of comfort, now reminded him of what he might fail to provide. The home that had been warm and alive felt heavy, suffocating, a silent reminder of his helplessness. Neighbors offered sympathy, but their words fell flat. It will get better, they said. Don't worry. Their voices were hollow, failing to reach the depth of his suffering. Each day, he felt smaller, more trapped. The world seemed indifferent, life unyielding. One particularly cold night, rain pounding on the roof, Thursday Rain wandered through his living room. He contemplated surrender, imagining a life where he gave up entirely. But even in that darkest moment, there was a faint whisper inside, a tiny spark of rebellion against despair. Somewhere deep within, the seed of determination quietly survived, waiting for a chance to grow. Chapter 2: A Glimmer of Hope. Days passed slowly after Thursday Rain lost his job. Each morning, he woke with a heavy chest, feeling as if the air itself weighed him down. Meals had no taste, sleep had no comfort. He moved through his home almost mechanically, performing routine tasks without focus or joy. Even the presence of his child, whose laughter had once filled his heart with warmth, now reminded him of his helplessness. Each giggle, each innocent question about toys or school, pierced him with guilt. One rainy night, as the wind rattled the windows and the water poured down the streets, his phone rang. It was his closest friend, Than Pak. Thursday Rain hesitated for a moment before answering, unsure he wanted to hear human voices. "Thursday Rain? Are you all right? You haven't answered my calls." Than Pak's voice was concerned but firm. I'm fine," Thursday Rain replied softly, though the truth felt far from fine. "Just tired." "Don't lie to me," Than Pak said gently. "I can hear it in your voice. You've been carrying too much alone. Listen, I don't know if you realize it yet, but your greatest strength will show itself when you are at your lowest point." The words struck him like a sudden spark in the darkness. Thursday Rain hadn't expected this, hadn't realized that someone could see through the heavy veil of despair that he had wrapped himself in. For the first time in weeks, he considered the possibility that he might not be entirely defeated. He hung up the phone and sat in silence, letting the words echo in his mind. It was as if a tiny flame had been lit somewhere deep inside him. Though uncertain how to proceed, he felt a faint surge of determination. For the first time in many nights, a thought surfaced that had been buried beneath fear. "I will not remain in this darkness. I will rise from this low point." The next morning, Thursday Rain forced himself out of bed before dawn. He began with small, deliberate actions. First, he cleaned the small home he shared with his family. Dust was wiped from the shelves, old clutter was sorted and stored, floors swept carefully. Each motion was meditative, each task a reclaiming of control he had thought lost. He contemplated surrender, imagining a life where he gave up entirely. But even in that darkest moment, there was a faint whisper inside, a tiny spark of rebellion against despair. Somewhere deep within, the seed of determination quietly survived, waiting for a chance to grow. Chapter 3: Rising Step by Step. With hope flickering faintly in his heart, Thursday Rain decided it was time to take more intentional steps. The first days were small, organizing the furniture in his home, cleaning neglected corners, and removing clutter that had accumulated during months of stress. Each motion was purposeful, almost ritualistic. As dust was wiped away and order restored, Thursday Rain felt as if he were reclaiming his life, one object at a time. He began visiting neighbors, offering to help with minor tasks. Carrying groceries for an elderly woman, fixing a leaky faucet for a neighbor, or carrying a heavy package. It seemed insignificant, but the small interactions reminded him that he still had value and skills to contribute. Each grateful smile, each nod of appreciation, acted like a droplet of water nurturing a parched soul. At night, Thursday Rain spent hours reading and reflecting. He pored over books about resilience, biographies of entrepreneurs who had overcome adversity, and guides on self-improvement. Slowly, his mind opened to possibilities that had seemed unreachable just weeks ago. He began to plan, not recklessly, but with careful consideration. He analyzed his strengths, skills, and interests, thinking about ways to create value for others. Even his wife noticed the subtle changes. "Thursday rain, it feels like there's light in our home again," she said one evening, watching him organize the small living space. Her words felt like validation, a confirmation that the effort he was putting in, though small and incremental, was producing results. For the first time in weeks, he allowed himself to believe that he could shape a future beyond mere survival. By the second week, he began experimenting with minor projects at home. Thursday rain repaired old furniture that had been discarded, refinished wooden surfaces, and created small decorative items. He started giving them to neighbors as gifts or selling them for a small fee. The work brought a sense of pride and accomplishment. Each completed piece was a tangible proof that he was capable, that he could produce value and regain control of his life. Though progress was slow, each day brought incremental improvements. The routine of daily work, helping others, and learning allowed him to regain structure and purpose. Thursday rain realized that recovery was not an instant fix, but a step-by-step climb. Each small victory, no matter how minor, built confidence and resilience. Nights were no longer dominated by anxiety. Thursday rain reflected on his days, noting progress, and planning for tomorrow. He found joy in small successes and learned to celebrate them privately. Slowly, his home regained warmth, not just in cleanliness but in spirit. Family interactions became more vibrant, laughter more frequent, and the sense of hopelessness that had once hung heavily began to lift. During this period, Thursday rain also began networking with other local craftsmen and small business owners. He observed their methods, learned new techniques, and gathered ideas for future projects. He understood that knowledge and community were powerful tools for growth. By seeking guidance and sharing experiences, he began to see a path forward. By the end of the first 2 months of his renewed efforts, Thursday rain had made substantial personal progress. He had re-established control over his home, reconnected with his neighbors, and rebuilt his own confidence. The despair that had consumed him after losing his job now seemed distant, replaced by determination and cautious optimism. He realized that rising from the lowest point was not about sudden transformations or dramatic changes. It was about patience, perseverance, and small, consistent actions. Thursday rain felt a sense of empowerment he had never known before, the knowledge that he could shape his own path, step by step, even when the odds seemed against him. Chapter 4: Starting Something New. After months of rebuilding his confidence and regaining control over his daily life, Thursday rain began to think seriously about the future. A single question repeatedly surfaced in his mind: should I start something of my own rather than searching for another job? It was a frightening thought, yet one that also stirred excitement. For the first time in months, he allowed himself to dream beyond mere survival. He started researching small business ideas, exploring areas where he had skills and experience. Handicrafts, furniture restoration, and small decorative items seemed like a natural fit. He considered the materials, costs, potential market, and time required. Each plan he made felt like a stepping stone toward independence, a way to take control of his destiny. With determination, Thursday Rain decided to start a small handicraft business using the little savings he had managed to accumulate. It was a modest beginning. A few tools, scraps of wood, and a simple workspace in a corner of his home. Though small, it represented a significant risk and a leap of faith. The first few weeks were incredibly challenging. Supplies were scarce, money tight, and orders inconsistent. There were long nights spent sanding, carving, and painting, sometimes only to realize that the product might not sell. Frustration and self-doubt crept in. At times, he questioned whether he had made the right decision. Despite the challenges, Thursday Rain refused to give up. Each setback became a lesson, a design was improved, a process was refined, a new idea was tested. He meticulously documented each step, learning from both successes and failures. He also reached out to other local craftsmen, seeking advice and guidance, forming a small network that became a source of support and inspiration. At home, his family became an integral part of the journey. His wife helped with simple tasks, keeping the workspace organized and encouraging him when he felt discouraged. His child watched curiously, occasionally offering small suggestions that brought a smile to his face. Together, they began to transform their home into a place of creation and possibility rather than despair. Gradually, Thursday Rain began to produce pieces that attracted attention. Neighbors admired his work and offered small orders. Word spread slowly but steadily. Each sale, no matter how small, was a validation of his efforts and a proof that he was capable of creating value even in difficult circumstances. Thursday Rain also learned the importance of planning and marketing. He created simple catalogs, approached local shops, and participated in community fairs. Each interaction, whether with customers or other entrepreneurs, taught him lessons in communication, negotiation, and trust building. The experience broadened his perspective and strengthened his confidence in the viability of his business. By the end of the first 6 months, Thursday Rain had established a small but promising business. The journey had been exhausting, demanding both physical and emotional effort, yet immensely rewarding. He began to understand that success was not immediate or guaranteed. It required persistence, adaptability, and a willingness to learn from every obstacle. For the first time since losing his job, Thursday Rain felt in control of his life. He was no longer a passive participant in circumstances beyond his control. Instead, he had become the architect of his own future, rising steadily from despair to determination, building each day with careful, deliberate effort. After nearly 2 years of steady effort, Thursday Rain's small handicraft business began to gain recognition. Neighbors, impressed by the quality of his work, recommended him to friends and acquaintances. Word of mouth became the first engine of growth. People admired not just the craftsmanship but also the care and attention he put into each piece. Slowly, demand began to rise. As orders increased, Thursday Rain faced new challenges. Meeting the growing demand required careful planning, efficient time management, and attention to detail. Each item had to meet high standards, or he risked disappointing customers and damaging his reputation. He invested long hours into perfecting his techniques, experimenting with new designs, and sourcing better materials. The work was exhausting, but every finished piece filled him with pride and satisfaction. Local fairs and markets became an essential part of his business. Thursday Rain set up small booths, carefully displaying his creations and engaging with customers. Each interaction was an opportunity to learn about people's tastes, improve his products, and build trust. Slowly, he realized that running a business required not just skill but also communication, patience, and empathy. The financial strain that had once dominated his life began to ease. While the income was still modest, it allowed Thursday Rain to cover household expenses more comfortably. He could buy better materials, experiment with new ideas, and occasionally treat his family. The relief and sense of accomplishment lifted a weight he had carried for years. With success came new responsibilities. Thursday Rain began mentoring younger craftsmen who sought guidance. He shared techniques, business insights, and lessons learned from his own struggles. Teaching others gave him a sense of purpose and fulfillment beyond financial gain. It also reinforced the realization that knowledge and experience grow in value when shared. Thursday Rain often reflected on the day he lost his job. Initially, it had felt like a catastrophe, an end to all possibilities. Yet, in retrospect, he saw it as the catalyst that had forced him to find resilience, creativity, and courage he had never known. The crisis had revealed his capacity to adapt, learn, and rise from adversity. At home, life became brighter. His wife, once quiet and worried, smiled more easily, and his child laughed freely. The house, once heavy with anxiety and despair, now radiated warmth and energy. Thursday Rain understood that his own growth had transformed not just his life but the atmosphere of his home. Despite his progress, Thursday Rain remained humble and cautious. He knew that business could be unpredictable, that circumstances could change, and that success was fragile. He continued to plan, learn, and refine his craft, aware that consistent effort was the true foundation of lasting achievement. By the end of the second year, Thursday Rain's business had reached a level of stability. Orders were consistent, customers satisfied, and his reputation in the community strong. He had transformed what had begun as a desperate attempt at survival into a sustainable and respected livelihood. Thursday Rain realized that his journey from despair to success was more than financial. It was a transformation of character, mindset, and perspective. He had learned patience, perseverance, and the power of incremental progress. Most importantly, he understood that even in the darkest times, resilience and determination could lead to light, opportunity, and fulfillment. Chapter 6: Personal Transformation and Reflection. By the third year of his renewed efforts, Thursday Rain had changed profoundly. The despair that had once consumed him seemed a distant memory, replaced by purpose, resilience, and a quiet confidence. He had discovered strengths within himself that had lain dormant, buried beneath fear and uncertainty. Every challenge he had faced, from the loss of his job to the difficulties of starting his own business, had shaped him into someone more patient, deliberate, and self-aware. The home environment mirrored this inner change. Laughter now filled rooms that had once been heavy with worry. His wife's encouragement became a natural part of daily life, and his child's curiosity and joy inspired him to create, build, and imagine. The transformation was not only in financial stability but in the emotional and spiritual atmosphere of his household. The house no longer felt like a prison but a place of growth and possibility. Thursday Rain also learned to appreciate the value of reflection. Each evening, he would pause and review the day's work, noting achievements, setbacks, and lessons learned. This practice allowed him to maintain focus and to celebrate incremental progress rather than waiting for grand milestones. It gave him a sense of control and clarity, reinforcing the idea that change came from consistent effort and mindful attention. His relationships with neighbors and colleagues deepened. Thursday Rain began to mentor younger craftsmen, offering guidance, encouragement, and practical advice. He realized that his journey could serve as inspiration, proving that hardship need not define a person's future. By sharing his experiences, he not only helped others avoid mistakes but also reinforced his own learning and growth. On a personal level, Thursday Rain became more resilient and self-aware. He had learned to face uncertainty without succumbing to fear, to treat failure as a teacher rather than a punishment, and to find meaning in small, deliberate actions. The sense of helplessness that had once dominated him was replaced by confidence in his ability to navigate life's unpredictability. Financially, his business had stabilized and grown steadily. Orders from local and neighboring communities provided consistent income, while occasional larger commissions brought recognition and pride. Thursday Rain's focus remained on quality, integrity, and customer satisfaction rather than purely on profit, which had further strengthened his reputation and client loyalty. Reflecting on his journey, Thursday Rain recognized the pivotal role of the adversity he had faced. Losing his job, which had once felt like an insurmountable tragedy, had forced him to discover new paths, develop skills, and cultivate inner strength. The pain of those early months was now a reminder of his resilience and the value of perseverance. At home, at work, and within the community, Thursday Rain had become a symbol of transformation. People noticed not just his craftsmanship but his patience, humility, and wisdom. He realized that success was not measured solely by material gains, but by the ability to overcome obstacles, grow through hardship, and inspire others along the way. He often reflected on a simple truth: the darkest moments in life are rarely permanent. They are not endings but beginnings in disguise. His own experience confirmed that hope, resilience, and action could transform despair into opportunity. Each day was now approached with a sense of purpose and gratitude, a far cry from the anxiety and hopelessness that had once defined him. Thursday Rain understood that his journey was ongoing. Though he had achieved stability and recognition, life would always present new challenges. Yet he now faced them with confidence, knowledge, and hope. The lessons of his past, the importance of perseverance, mindful reflection, and incremental progress would guide him for years to come, ensuring that even in future darkness, he could find his way toward light. Chapter 7: Community Impact and Growth. By the fourth year of his journey, Thursday Rain's efforts began to ripple beyond his own household. His small handicraft business had grown steadily, attracting attention not just from local customers but from neighboring towns. People admired not only the quality of his work but also the care and dedication that went into each piece. The reputation he had built through persistence and integrity became a foundation for community respect. Recognizing the potential to contribute more broadly, Thursday Rain began offering guidance to younger artisans. Many in the town had skills but lacked business knowledge or confidence to sell their work. Thursday Rain shared his experiences openly, lessons from mistakes, strategies that worked, and the importance of resilience. Through mentorship, he created a small network of local craftspeople who began collaborating, sharing materials, and supporting each other's endeavors. He also participated in local markets and fairs more actively. Setting up booths, demonstrating techniques, and engaging directly with customers became not just a business strategy but a way to foster community connections. These interactions strengthened the local economy and inspired others to take initiative in their own lives. Thursday Rain's presence became a quiet symbol of possibility, proving that hard work and creativity could yield meaningful results. The impact extended beyond business. Thursday Rain began supporting community projects, helping organize events that showcased local talents and cultural traditions. His home became a gathering place for discussions, planning sessions, and small workshops. Neighbors, once distant or hesitant, now sought his advice, collaboration, and insight. He had become a trusted figure whose experience could guide others through challenges. Financial stability allowed Thursday Rain to invest in better tools, materials, and training. He hired a few assistants, providing employment opportunities for locals who might otherwise have struggled to find work. Each hire was carefully guided, taught not only technical skills but also principles of dedication, customer care, and perseverance. Thursday Rain's business had evolved from a personal survival effort to a hub of opportunity for the community. His growth also inspired his family. His wife, once worried and reserved, embraced the role of partner in this expanding endeavor. She helped manage orders, communicate with clients, and maintain the home environment, reinforcing the balance between work and family. Their child, witnessing the dedication and progress firsthand, developed a sense of pride and curiosity, eager to learn and participate. Thursday Rain's influence reached beyond immediate economic contributions. He became a mentor, role model, and source of encouragement for those facing hardships. People approached him not just for business advice, but for guidance in personal challenges. His experience demonstrated that resilience, patience, and consistent effort could transform lives, inspiring hope where there had been despair. Despite the growth, Thursday Rain remained humble. He knew that the foundation of his success lay in diligence, integrity, and the ability to learn from failure. He avoided complacency, continuously refining techniques, exploring new designs, and improving processes. His vision was not just profit but creating meaningful work that positively impacted both his family and community. As the community prospered alongside him, Thursday Rain reflected on his journey. From the despair of losing his job to the slow, incremental rebuilding of his confidence and skills, he had transformed himself and his surroundings. The network of artisans, the supportive neighbors, and the thriving local market were testaments to what one person's determination could achieve when paired with community collaboration. By the end of the fourth year, Thursday Rain's work had become a beacon in his town. People recognized him not only for his craftsmanship but for his contributions to the lives of others. The lessons he had learned about perseverance, growth, and mentorship were now being multiplied through the success and progress of those around him. Thursday Rain had discovered that true success was not measured in profit alone, but in the positive impact one could create within a community. Chapter 8: Overcoming New Challenges. Even with steady success and a growing reputation, Thursday Rain understood that life was rarely predictable. By the 5th year, new challenges began to emerge. Competition from other artisans increased as more people noticed the profitability of handicrafts. Occasionally, orders were delayed due to supply shortages or unforeseen circumstances. These new obstacles tested his patience, adaptability, and strategic thinking in ways he had never anticipated. Thursday Rain realized that past experiences had prepared him for this moment. The despair of losing his job, the slow rebuilding of confidence, and the meticulous steps he had taken to grow his business had instilled resilience and problem-solving skills. He approached each challenge methodically, analyzing the problem, considering possible solutions, and taking deliberate action rather than reacting impulsively. When a shipment of materials was delayed, threatening to postpone orders, Thursday Rain sought alternatives. He contacted multiple suppliers, explored local substitutes, and even experimented with new designs that could be completed with available resources. By staying flexible and proactive, he avoided major disruptions and ensured customer satisfaction. The experience reinforced his understanding that challenges were not roadblocks, but opportunities for learning and innovation. Competition, once intimidating, became a source of motivation. Instead of viewing other artisans as rivals, Thursday Rain saw them as peers and sources of inspiration. He collaborated with some, sharing techniques and ideas, while learning from others' successes and mistakes. This approach not only strengthened his network but also improved the quality and variety of his products, demonstrating that strategic collaboration could turn challenges into advantages. Thursday Rain also faced internal challenges. As the business grew, managing time became increasingly complex. Balancing production, client communication, mentoring, and family responsibilities required careful planning. He developed detailed schedules, prioritized tasks, and delegated responsibilities to trusted assistants. These organizational skills were vital in ensuring both business efficiency and personal well-being. Unexpected personal challenges arose as well. Health issues, minor family emergencies, and periods of fatigue tested his endurance. Yet Thursday Rain applied the same principles that had guided him through earlier hardships: patience, persistence, and careful planning. He understood that setbacks were part of life and could be managed without panic or despair. Each difficulty strengthened his capacity to endure and adapt. The local community also faced challenges, from economic slowdowns to natural events that affected market activity. Thursday Rain engaged actively, helping coordinate local support, sharing resources, and maintaining morale. His leadership extended beyond business, influencing neighbors and artisans who looked up to him for guidance during uncertain times. By the 6th year, Thursday Rain had not only overcome these challenges but learned to anticipate and mitigate potential risks. He created contingency plans, diversified suppliers, and maintained open communication with clients. His proactive approach allowed the business to remain resilient and adaptable, even in the face of unexpected difficulties. Through these experiences, Thursday Rain realized a profound truth: growth was inseparable from challenges. Each obstacle, setback, or complication was an opportunity to refine skills, deepen understanding, and strengthen character. The same resilience that had carried him from despair to hope now guided him through complex problems with clarity and confidence. By the end of the 5th year, Thursday Rain had mastered the art of navigating challenges. His business continued to thrive, his family remained secure, and his community benefited from his leadership. He had learned that obstacles were not signs of failure but integral parts of the journey. True success was measured not only by stability or profit, but by the ability to confront difficulties with courage, adaptability, and wisdom. Chapter 9: Recognition and Influence. By the 6th year, Thursday Rain's reputation had extended beyond his town and neighboring villages. People admired not only his craftsmanship but also the integrity, dedication, and resilience that underpinned his success. Invitations arrived from regional fairs, workshops, and community events, where his work and his story were celebrated as an example of perseverance and ingenuity. Recognition brought new opportunities. Local newspapers and community newsletters featured his journey, highlighting how he had transformed adversity into achievement. Thursday Rain's story inspired others to pursue their own paths despite challenges, and many young artisans approached him seeking advice and mentorship. He became not just a craftsman but a symbol of possibility and hope. The influence of his work extended to education and mentorship programs. Thursday Rain began conducting workshops for aspiring craftsmen, teaching not only techniques but also lessons in business management, problem solving, and resilience. Participants admired his humility and patience, and the collaborative environment he fostered encouraged creativity and innovation. Thursday Rain also became a bridge between his community and external markets. Collectors, tourists, and buyers from distant towns sought his work, providing a steady flow of orders that supported not just him but others he employed. The business had grown from a solitary effort to a hub of local enterprise, benefiting multiple families and strengthening community ties. With recognition came responsibility. Thursday Rain was aware that his influence could shape perceptions, inspire others, and encourage a culture of perseverance. He remained careful to act with integrity, emphasizing that success was built on effort, patience, and ethical practice rather than shortcuts or luck. His actions consistently reinforced the values he had developed through years of struggle. Despite his accomplishments, Thursday Rain remained grounded. He understood that fame or recognition was fleeting if not supported by continual effort and humility. Each day he continued to work diligently, produce high-quality craftsmanship, and mentor others. He prioritized long-term growth, skill building, and meaningful impact over immediate accolades. His story became widely shared in local communities as an example of transformation. People spoke of how he had risen from despair to create a thriving business and inspire others. This recognition was not simply about personal pride, it was about the ability to influence and uplift others, demonstrating that obstacles could be transformed into opportunity through resilience and thoughtful action. The recognition also encouraged collaboration. Thursday Rain worked with local schools, community centers, and artisans' associations to create programs that nurtured young talent. By providing guidance, resources, and encouragement, he helped build a network of creative individuals who could contribute meaningfully to their communities. His influence extended beyond craftsmanship. Thursday Rain's personal story overcoming loss, taking calculated risks, and maintaining integrity became a blueprint for others facing challenges in business, family, or personal growth. His approach emphasized persistence, learning from failure, and the importance of community support. By the 7th year, Thursday Rain had fully realized that recognition and influence were not ends in themselves, but tools to amplify positive change. He had become a source of inspiration and a practical guide for others, proving that success was not measured only by wealth or acclaim, but by the ability to transform adversity into opportunity and to help others rise alongside you. Chapter 10: Legacy and Fulfillment. By the 8th year, Thursday Rain had reached a stage in life where reflection and fulfillment became central to his daily existence. His journey from despair to success had shaped not only his personal growth but also the lives of many around him. The hardships he had endured, once overwhelming and paralyzing, now seemed like essential chapters in a story of resilience, courage, and purposeful action. His business had stabilized into a thriving enterprise. Orders flowed steadily, ranging from local clients to distant collectors who valued the artistry and integrity of his work. But the tangible success, income, recognition, and material comfort was only one aspect of his fulfillment. The true satisfaction came from knowing that his efforts had positively impacted his family, employees, and community. Thursday Rain's home was filled with warmth and laughter. His wife, once anxious and burdened, now shared in the joy of a life rebuilt with patience and persistence. Their child grew up in an environment infused with creativity, resilience, and hope, witnessing firsthand the power of dedication and integrity. Every day, the household radiated a sense of security and purpose, a testament to the journey they had all endured together. Beyond his family, Thursday Rain's influence extended throughout the community. He continued mentoring young artisans, sharing both technical knowledge and life lessons. The small network he had nurtured had grown, inspiring countless others to take initiative and pursue meaningful work. His guidance, patience, and humility became a blueprint for success and character, showing that true achievement was measured in impact rather than personal gain alone. Reflecting on his journey, Thursday Rain understood the importance of adversity in shaping character. The lowest points, the loss of his job, the financial uncertainty, and the deep emotional struggles had been the catalysts for growth. Without those challenges, he would never have discovered the strengths that defined him today: resilience, patience, strategic thinking, and the ability to inspire and lead. He also realized that his story could serve as a legacy. Beyond physical creations or business success, the example he set overcoming hardship, pursuing purpose, and lifting others was a lasting contribution to the values and culture of his community. Each mentee, each neighbor, and each family touched by his efforts carried forward a part of that legacy. Despite achieving what many would call success, Thursday Rain remained humble. He approached each day with a sense of purpose rather than entitlement, understanding that life's journey was ongoing. New challenges would arise, but he now had the skills, mindset, and community support to navigate them with confidence and grace. His fulfillment was also deeply personal. Thursday Rain had learned to appreciate the small moments: morning sunlight on his workshop, the laughter of his child, the gratitude of a satisfied customer, the quiet satisfaction of a well-crafted piece. These moments, once overlooked during times of despair, became sources of joy, grounding him in the present while reminding him of the value of persistence. By the end of the 8th year, Thursday Rain had fully embraced the interconnectedness of effort, community, and purpose. He understood that true success was not just about individual achievement but about creating an environment where others could grow, thrive, and find hope. His life had become a living testament to the idea that even the darkest moments can lead to extraordinary growth when approached with courage, patience, and perseverance. Thursday Rain's story concluded not with an end, but with a continuum. His business, family, and community thrived, reflecting the lessons he had learned and the values he had cultivated. He had transformed despair into opportunity, isolation into influence, and uncertainty into a legacy of hope. In every carefully crafted piece, every mentorship session, and every act of guidance, his journey from darkness to light continued to inspire, ensuring that his impact would resonate long after the initial struggles had passed.